Good afternoon, friends and comrades. I'm going to read a note that I wrote on Facebook recently, which is called American 21st Century Patriots. So if you bear with me a moment, I'll look it up. There. There is no greater way to do a disservice to the young men and women in uniform of the armed services of this nation than to ignore their maltreatment by the government when they get home. Ignore the mass suicide, neglect, and abandoning of the wounded soldier, both physically and emotionally, the mass homelessness of veterans, the elderly, etc. And there's nothing more patriotic than to call the government out in the face of tyranny. The sophisticated propaganda mechanisms of the U.S. tell us the exact opposite, which removes the logic of man and leaves a want for only hatred of those who fight for our rights. There is no doubt in my mind Bradley Manning and Edward Snowden are two of the greatest American patriots of our times. They did a service not just to us as a people, but to humanity, in exposing the intrusion on our privacy, our rights, and war crimes done in our name. I remember the days of activism on one cold morning in Boston just a couple years ago, where the sense of pride was felt among us all us comrades as we resisted to the end, defending our camp and getting arrested in the process. These acts of conscience, acts against all odds, are acts of patriotism towards justice for future generations, out of a deep love and willingness to sacrifice, acts of true heroism which must be admired. Assange, WikiLeaks, these are all instruments of this social justice for a social movement that is unstoppable. All the infiltration and SA spying in the world will not stop this movement of consciousness. Information, inspiration, vis-a-vis activism on a global scale as we see the revolts arise again in Egypt and also in Turkey. Here in America, we feel the tide of revolution is upon us once again, and this time will be an unstoppable force for good, indeed. In the final analysis, we must unite now more than ever to fight the forces of oppression at home and abroad, to be in solidarity with our comrades as they continue the struggle for universal justice and liberty for all people towards equal society and new society for our children, for a cause greater than ourselves, a culture to come. Thank you, friends and comrades.